Republican. On returning to the States, he returned to Wisconsin and the University of Madison. After running around for 4 years trying not to get killed, he told me he simply did not want to be far from his family, especially his younger sister Mary, whom he adored. He also did not, apparently, want to be a writer anymore. Though his love of books and words would never leave him, his academic interest turned to medicine, a field which he would cultivate into an encyclopedic volume of knowledge. In school, of course, he would meet the love of his life, his wife of 60 years, my mother, Jean Raglan Woodland. And then along the way, with good words, sports, travel, and mother, somewhere, he developed a fine taste in clothes, cigars, and cars. My very first memory of my life is sitting in the middle of the back seat of his Cadillac convertible with the top down, near dusk, at the end of one of those sweltering Indiana summer days like we have here now in Wisconsin. We were returning from Dairy Queen with a nice, cool vanilla cone, and I was staring up at the sky. Another early memory is me and just Dad, going to pick up his new gold Cadillac at a dealership in Podunk, Dad's word, Newcastle. That was the last car he ever bought from Detroit. With their many travels overseas, Mom and Dad picked up his real jewel of a car, his 1972 Mercedes-Benz 300 SEL, the first car I remember going 100 miles an hour in. He was racing a Jaguar. That was the same car on the way home from the racetrack with Ed and Helen, I think, and after a couple of martinis that he got pulled over by the police. "Slow it down, Dr. Stussy," the officer simply said. After that glorious car and the subsequent gas crisis, Dad got into his diesel phase, much to our chagrin. One day on the way to Lake Santee with my friend Mike, he was going what seemed to be nearly 100 miles an hour down this narrow country road that had this infamous culvert. And he swooped over it, saying, "No wallowing Cadillac could do this." As the little Ben swooped over the bump, direct quote. What he didn't know was that the little needle on the dash that suddenly went to 0 was his oil pressure gauge. Dad wasn't too knowledgeable about such things and continued driving until he seized the engine. "Grass," he said. He's the only person I've known to use the word grass as a swear word.
Yeah.
Are there others?
No, never heard.
Robin.
Robin.
I never heard it either until today.
On another trip to Europe, he bought his famous London striped shirts. I couldn't tell if he thought they were funny or stylish, but he sure wore them a lot, and he always announced them. "What do you think of these London striped shirts? Aren't they dandy?" As we got older and moved away, Dad started a brief tradition of taking me and Ed, when he was around, out for a Christmas clothes shopping spree. Mother would nearly faint seeing the bill from Nordstrom's. In 1997, for my wedding, Norma's and my wedding, he bought himself a custom-cut Hickey Freeman suit and a pair of new Ferragamo shoes. He liked nice things, but he also, of course, liked us having nice things. Mother's enlarger for her darkroom. Remember the picture Christmas morning of Mother just in awe that he'd gotten this tremendous thing for her. Her annual collection of Lalique, the children's elite and expensive educations. He never flinched that I saw over money, except taking me to the horse track. He'd always sneak me in for free after I was old enough that I should have been paid. But just a few years ago, my old dog Felix, much older than the dogs here today, he got very ill and needed very expensive surgery, thousands of dollars. Ed, my brother, had recently started his blog, so I decided to put up an entry musing about our decision to go ahead with the surgery or to put him down. The blog ended with my conclusion that despite financial hardship, we had to proceed with the surgery. I had no idea who would read this. It was just sort of, I needed to put the words down to go through my own thought processes. And after doing that, I got a letter in the mail from Mom and Dad, and there was a check in it. Mother, apparently, had called Dad over to read the note, and he had simply said, "Send him a check." I imagine it was just like that, and I imagine he tottered back over to his chair and his cigar and his book. Another thing he gave us all, of course, is our love of words and books. The only book I have any memory of him reading to me is Yertle the Turtle.
There are worse things.
And turtles, of course, he would read all the turtles free as turtles, and maybe all the others. And then he went back to his cigar and his book. He is not gone. He can never be gone, as long as we remember him. Every time I say podunk, or grass. Or look at a fine car, a fine pair of shoes. I will think of my dad and all of his gifts. My brother Ed is still here, I think. No, yet no. Thanks. Good job.